This one's going to be about the perspectives of psychology. And this video is just for the intro unit test. Is not comprehensive enough to be for the final AP exam. So that'll be a different video. But this will give you an idea of what the perspectives are. And it'll be good enough for the first test. The AP one will just be more in depth. It'll have more names and more experiments. But that's stuff we haven't gone over yet in the first unit. So here we go. One perspective is the biological perspective. And this perspective, the key words are parts of the body. So the brain, the nervous system, the neuron, which is a single nerve in the brain, neurotransmitters, which are the chemicals in the brain. Those are the chemicals when we say that someone is chemically imbalanced. It's neurotransmitters are the chemicals. And hormones are also part of the biological perspective. So if you hear any of those body parts, that's the biological perspective. And that perspective is really concerned about how those things affect behavior, affect personality, affect mood, affect disorders. So that's the biological perspective. Another one we're looking at is the psychodynamic perspective, and this is Freud. Freud pioneered this perspective. We'll talk more about him at length later in the year. But you should know that his big thing was that he emphasized the importance of the unconscious mind. So stuff we're not aware of, and those things driving our behavior. Maybe aggression we're not aware of, maybe sexual desires we're not aware of. But these unconscious motives are what drive our behavior and affect our mood and our personality and our disorders and all that stuff. Okay, another perspective is the behaviorist perspective. And these guys emphasize the importance of observable behavior. That's all they were interested in. They didn't care about thoughts and feelings because you couldn't observe them. So the behaviorists emphasize observable behavior. And they called it learning. So whenever someone is punished or rewarded and they change their behavior, they call that learning. So learning is one of the key words. Other key terms would be environmental stimuli. So if something happens in the environment, like the bell rings during class and you get up and walk out, that's an environmental stimuli. So that's an important term for them. And you might see classical conditioning or operant conditioning or reinforcement or punishment. Those are also all part of the behaviorist perspective. Okay, another perspective. Let's see, the humanistic perspective. Key word of the humanistic perspective is self. That's it. That's the only one. Self. So you see terms like self-esteem or self-concept. That's the humanistic perspective. And they were real interested in human potential and free will and goal setting. So all how these things affect behavior. Fourth perspective, note this is fifth. I'm having trouble counting. The cognitive perspective. Cognitive means thinking. So if there's a word about thinking, intelligence, memory, problem solving, these are all key words that's the cognitive perspective. So they were interested in how we think and how that affects our mood or our personality or disorders, all those things. Sixth perspective is known as the evolutionary perspective, and this perspective focuses on natural selection. And 50,000 years ago we were hunter-gatherers, and so what traits would have been adaptive at that point in time, and how those traits continue to affect us today. So how did natural selection in that phase of human existence play out to affect us now? So for instance, we have phobias and we have fear of heights, and it would have been adaptive to have a fear of heights as a hunter-gatherer. Last one is social cultural, and this perspective emphasizes how different cultures affect your personality, and also how particular group settings, so a group of 4 or 5 people, how that might affect your personality. So whether you live in India or the United States, or whether you're in Bozeman, that's different cultural settings. And then different group settings would be like how football players are different from speech and debate people, and why, and what are the forces there that are working on that. So those are the 7 perspectives. You should know that the book uses slightly different names. So for instance, for biological, you might see the name neuroscience, or behavioral genetics. And for psychodynamic, you might sometimes see psychoanalytic. So for AP Psych, we're going to go with the 7 that I just named. Our book goes with slightly different names, but that's okay, because if you look at a variety of books, they all use slightly different names but kind of mean the same. So biological is neuroscience, and psychodynamic could also be psychoanalytic. That's it. That's the perspectives. It's pretty easy. So I hope that helps, and I'll talk to you later.